Hey y'all, HH-BlueDynamite here for another RWBY theory video, and just want to clarify, it's not strictly about Ren. Kinda is, kinda isn't, but not necessarily. This is actually a prediction theory video involving what has transpired after RWBY Volume 8, Chapter 4. So, that pretty much means this is going to be some major spoilers ahead. So let me just do this first. Had that. Y'all still here, obviously. So that probably means you guys were first timers and you've seen the episode. If not, proceed at your own risk. So, like I said before, this video is going to be prediction theory video on pretty much what's going to transpire after that ending scene in episode 4. And of course, at the end of that episode, Jean had to say pretty much tempting fate words, with him saying things always seems to get worse before they can get better, and we see something either coming out of the grounds of the tundra of Atlas or Solitas, or what? So, Jean, you gotta stop tempting fate. But clearly this is going to be an obstacle of sorts that Ren, Yang, and Jean are going to have to take on, whether it may be, and like I said, I got some predictions as to what that might entail. First of all, I don't think it's a Grimm, and the reason why I say that is because you don't really hear anything that's pertaining to a Grimm. We kind of got that with other times something like this happens, but we don't hear anything. We don't hear a growl, we don't hear a hiss, we don't hear a gurgle or whatever. So I don't think what's causing this is a Grimm. But what I do think it is probably a sinkhole. And somebody in the comment section of the video over at the Rooster Teeth website says like maybe it's like an abandoned SDC mine. And it's unstable due to cutting corners and neglect. You know, Jacques being a jerk, as per usual. So I do think what we see here is a sinkhole, and I pretty much have come to two conclusions what this might entail. The one that I'm more keen with is Ren falling into the sinkhole by himself, and due to how deep it is and how dark it is, it can't get out on his own. So he's essentially trapped down there, while Yang and Zhang went to go get some help. Alone to his thoughts, Ren gets mad with all this frustrations and stress and whatever, only for him to realize that he's alone. The only thing with him is the abandoned equipment, the dust, reflections of himself in that stuff. So he would finally get through his head like, hey, here you are, by yourself, alone. So he'll start feeling very, very isolated and really would start to regret his attitude. Whereas John and Yang, like I said, will go and get some help, probably be back at the crater, probably get some help from Joanna and Fiona, so we can see more of them. And during this time, Yang starts to agree with what Ren said, that they're just kind of like so way over their head. What were they thinking? This and that. They can't handle stuff like this. To which either Jean or Joanna or Fiona, well, I pick either Joanna or Jean, that in a way you were both right. You both were not in the wrong. You both were saying kind of true stuff that, yes, y'all way over your head. This is way more what y'all can handle. Whereas what Yang said, what we're here right now, there's nothing we can do. Who else are going to do this? So yeah, I do think they're both in the right. it's just, and I think, but still, I think Ren is kind of like missing a point because it's something that his father once said, and perhaps that's the thought he'll get back to his head during his time alone. Like his father saying, heck, he might wind up seeing a hallucination of his dad because Ren would probably lose his aura and starts suffering from hypothermia. And I think one of the symptoms of hypothermia, at least in the later stages, is hallucinations. So I'd imagine that he'll wind up getting a hallucination of Pyrrha, hallucination of his father saying, hallucination of his mother, hallucinations of the Nucalavi, and possibly a hallucination of his father saying things. The worst kind of action to make would be no action at all. And that's my abridged version. So I said basically, it's worse to stand back and do nothing. Like that's the worst possible thing, and Ren would very much nearly succumb to hypothermia because at a certain stage, and this probably would break a lot of people's hearts when they first see it, there is a stage in hypothermia where you look dead. You're not dead yet, but you just look dead. And I'd imagine as John and Yang, I don't think they have much knowledge when it comes to hypothermia because I didn't know this. But when they find Ren, they think he has just died. And obviously they get really upset by that. But no, he's not dead. They warm him up. They reactivate his aura and warm him up, and he's hunky-dory, he's alive. Yay! Because there's been so many death flags for him and Nora that it kind of did a reverse effect, a counter effect, that like, yeah, they're not going to die. Somebody's going to die in Volume 8, but it's not going to be Ren and Nora. You see here that I made an alternative kind of storytelling here, that when Ren falls, but he's not alone. It's either with Yang or Jean, and they finally get to talk, and Ren finally gets to vent out his frustrations, and that's pretty much all said and done. Yeah, I like the other one better, obviously, because it has more drama. It has more stakes in the air or something like that. Now, you think like, well, where, like, that's it? Just that? No, not really, because somebody, again, in the comments thread that I made in that episode, actually pointed out a specific type of Grim that might appear. The Sulfurfish Grim. And when they mentioned this, I was like, what? Sulfurfish Grim? Where did this come from? Apparently, there was a contest that whoever makes the most interesting Grim, that Grim's going to appear in Volume 8. And it's the Sulfurfish Grim that winds up taking the prize. Made by, I think it says Lel 25. It's right there on the side right there. Basically what it is, it's reminiscent of a silverfish, which silverfish, they kind of sound the same, more or less. And they, these creatures, how they behave and whatnot, they usually flee from humans, or just watch them from a distance if by itself or in very few numbers. But should a hunter find themselves in the midst of a sulfur swarm, they are known to be quite ravenous, which, if you don't know what ravenous means, they attack by latching onto their prey, then repeatedly stabbing or slashing them with long, barbed tails. These barbed tails clearly are superheated, which cause intense burns, especially when being attacked by multiple sulfurfish, which I can see why they're called sulfurfish. In several cases of sulfur swarms, they gain tendency to clump together and synchronize their movements to form larger bodies in order to overpower their prey, which is what you see here. You see this referred to as combination egg, which is more like a golem-like monster with a humanoid appearance kind of makes you think about those the Gigas, the Guy Scrim, the Petrogigas, the Armagigas, so something like that. Whereas the combination B, which I can imagine be like the final boss, makes me think of Power Rangers right now. That the swarm turns into this giant reptilian creature, which would be much more difficult to maneuver around. And like I said, a certain somebody would wind up being alone. Ren. So he's in for some big trouble with that. And I can imagine Yang like fighting off the humanoid one. But yes, I do think that at least, like, if that feature or whatever it is not caused by a Grim, and it's more like a sinkhole, this is like the next danger that they'll face. And I honestly can't wait. I honestly can't wait to see this Grim in action. That'll be so neat, especially with the whole tail thing. And I wonder how they're going to handle it. And that's it on this video. And this is just like a prediction video. If it winds up happening, holy crap, I called that. But I do think that I don't think Ren and Or is going to die in this volume, at least, because just so many red flags were going off, and it's like I said, it kind of did a counter effect with me, at least, that they're not gonna die. They're probably gonna get grievously injured, like the whole Nora with those lightning scars. I don't think they're gonna stay. Or Ren's gonna get like some effects from a hypothermia, or even, ooh, I just imagine something kind of funny with that, with the hypothermia thing, that those things were probably trying to attack him and inadvertently warm him back up. But other than that, I can imagine like he might get some burns out of this whole thing. Wonder if he looks like Zuko. But I don't think they're gonna die in this volume. I really don't. But if they do, I mean, it happens. It's not the first time that one of my favorite characters die. But that's just how it is. I'm not the writer here. And there's always fanfics and all that. But other than that, I wonder what you guys think might happen. Do you guys think it's gonna be just a soulful grim right then and there? I hope y'all have a blessed day, and please keep moving forward, especially at times like this. Bye, y'all.